David here with Fig Boot on Pens. This past weekend, I had the pleasure of attending the 22nd Annual Atlanta Pen Show. I had never attended the Atlanta show previously, but I had always heard some really great things about it, so I thought it would be worth the trip. And I was right. It was very much worth it. The show was held at the Wyndham Atlanta Galleria, which is a very nice venue. There were 3 main rooms and then like a long hallway. And every available space was taken up with tables. If the show grows much more, I think they'll need to add another room to accommodate it, I think. Hugh and Carol from the Canalea Pen Company were there with their spectacular pens. The colors on their pens are just so vibrant. Every single one just pops. Kenro had a table. They distribute a lot of really nice Montegrappa and Aurora pens. They just came out with the Game of Thrones line that I recently reviewed. Detlef Bittner was there and with lots of exotic pens. I really didn't get a picture of it, but he had one with him that was the most exquisite Namiki Emperor I had ever seen. The maquillé work on it was simply stunning. Now, it was around $9,000, so it remained a dream for quite some time, but I will dream about that pen. It was just amazing. There were a nice mix of larger and smaller vendors, and then also a nice mix of modern and vintage pens as well. My recommendation when attending a show is that if all possible, attend on a Friday. Typically, a show will be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, you'll have the pick of the crop when it comes to some of the more rare items. Check out all of these Omas Arcos celluloid pens. I literally searched for 4 months online before I found an Arcos celluloid to purchase. And here's just a bunch of them all together. I mean, those just look so pretty. But also one of the benefits of attending on a Friday is that typically the show isn't quite as busy as it will be over the weekend. Pen shows are social gatherings as much as retail gatherings. On the first day of the show, vendors and other folks will have a bit more time to socialize and chat and catch up with you, as opposed to the weekend when they might be swamped and have, 3, 4 people deep at their table. After all, vendors are there to sell some goods. The Franklin Kristoff table is always very popular at shows. First thing in the morning each day, they bring out some prototypes and one-offs that typically get snatched up very quickly. When you pick up a pen from Franklin Kristoff, Jim will tune it right up there for you on the spot. One of the cool things at their table is that they have some sample pens with all the various nib options, so you could really try out a nib prior to making a buying decision. Mike Matsuyama was there doing his usual fantastic work. I had an Omas with me that had a classic case of baby bottom that I had him fix for me. The pen writes fantastic now. I can't highly recommend Mike highly enough. If you ever have nib work that needs to be done, he's truly one of the best out there. On Friday night, there was a cookout by the pool. As I mentioned previously, pen shows are social gatherings, a time to really get together with old friends and to make new ones. So it's nice to have organized events like this bring everyone together, after a long day at the show. It was nice to have it outside after being inside all day. On Saturday, there was a live taping of the Pen Addict podcast. There was a really great turnout for the show. If you haven't listened to the episode, I would highly recommend it. They had on some great guests, and it was an interesting and entertaining episode. Even though I was there, I actually listened to it again on the long car ride home. One of the great things about pen shows is that they attract a wide variety of enthusiasts. You have seasoned veterans with huge collections, then you have folks that are just beginning to get interested in the hobby and that are really looking to pick up their very first pen or their very first ink. I was talking to some of those newbies right before the Pen Addict podcast. There was a young couple who was attending their very first show. I believe they came from Birmingham, Alabama. I could be mistaken, though. But the guy let me know that he was new to the hobby and only had a single pen, which he showed me, which was a Lamy Safari, and that he had even yet to purchase a bottle of ink. They were very nice. And after the podcast, Brad Dowdy had a drawing for a number of items to be given away. In my opinion, the coolest item being given away was the Franklin Kristoff Pen Addict model fountain pen. It's based off of the number 2, Franklin Kristoff's number 2 model. I think that thing looks pretty sharp. I really like the pop of orange. I think it contrasts nicely with the gray. If you're actually interested in picking one of these up, I'll put a link to Brad's site below in the notes. But who should win this pen but the young man that I was speaking to prior to the show? I talked to him afterward and he was just speechless. You could really tell how much it meant to him to win the pen. You know, if I or a lot of other people in that room would have won the pen, while it's cool and I would have liked it, it would kind of be another pen in a larger collection. But for this guy, it meant the world to him. He was just blown away. It was nice to see the pen to go to someone for whom it would be a prized possession. Okay, now it's time to take a look at some loot. In order to do that, let's hop over here to camera 2. Okay, to begin with, while it shows I use that as an opportunity to stock up on paper. You know, I use these Rhodia pads. I know we're kind of tight in here, so you can't see the whole thing. But these are number 18 Rhodia pads. I use these a great deal. It's what I use do all my writing samples on, as well as what I use every day at work. So I go through quite a few of these, and so I pick those up. Also, I go through a lot of these number 16 Rhodia spiral pads. This is kind of typically what I put my daily to-do lists on at home. So I always keep one of these on my desk, so I pick up a couple of those as well. The other thing I picked up in regard to paper was this here from Story Supply. Here's one of the founders, Vito, at their table. Lately, I've been carrying around one of these Nixon field notes, and I like the size, but the paper wasn't the greatest, and I'm just not really huge into the whole field notes thing, so I decided to try something a little bit different. So I'm looking forward to trying out these Story Supply books. I guess I do have one more thing in regard to paper. And, you know, for all of my ink swabs that you see here, I use these Marmon word cards. And these are really, really great. The problem is that these were discontinued over a year ago, and they're basically impossible to find now. Now, I had found a place that had a bit of stock a while back, so I picked up a bunch of extras, pretty much enough to set me for life. People would ask me where they could pick something up like this, and I always had to tell folks, sorry, you know, you're kind of out of luck. Well, Anna from the Well-Appointed Desk blog recently launched a product to fill the void left by the discontinuation of these word cards. And this is what she came up with, the Coloring ink testing book. They're fairly similar. They have 100 pages, just like the Marmons. The paper on the Marmons is kind of more smooth on one side and more textured on the other. And that this one feels like it's a little more in the middle, to where it's not quite as smooth as the smooth side and doesn't have as much textured as the textured size of the Marmon. I'm really looking forward to trying these out as well. And even though I have a lifetime supply of the others, you know, I like to support Anna and her new venture. I'll actually put a link to her site in the notes below. She's actually currently sold out of these coloring books, but you can sign up to be notified as soon as they're back in stock, which shouldn't be too long from now. I'm looking forward, again, to trying these out with some ink. Speaking of some ink, I did pick up a couple of bottles. First of all, the Mont Blanc Lucky Orange that I picked up recently kind of turned me on to oranges. And the orange that is generally well thought of that I didn't own is the Ackerman. And this is called the Oranje Boven, which translates to Orange Top, which I believe is a Dutch folk song. This is what the bottle looks like. It's one of my favorite bottles out there. And then this is what the ink looks like. Kind of a nice solid orange that pops a bit. So I'm looking forward to using that. Next, I got a bottle of Aurora Blue Black, which has been receiving a lot of really great reviews. And that this is what it looks like. You know, it's more of kind of almost like a midnight blue black, almost a purplish blue black, or maybe more like a royal blue black. Then finally, I picked up another bottle of ink, which has been getting some fantastic reviews, and that is the Robert Oyster Fire and Ice. And this is what this one looks like. It's just a real vibrant blue that really just pops. Okay, what else did I pick up? I saw this pen wrap, and that someone in the house really loves octopus, or octopi rather. And so I thought this pen wrap would make a really nice gift. I know we're kind of in tight here, but it has some really nice pictures of octopi on here, and then I kind of just like these dashes and lines. So you know, I really wish I would have made a note of the lady that made these, but she makes them by hand, and they're very, very nice. Okay, I did pick up a couple of pens, so this will be kind of a brief sneak peek. The full reviews for each of these pens will be coming up at a later time, but first of all, I just wanted to show them to you. To begin with, I had a couple of pens from Diplomat. Both of these were provided by the good folks at Points of Distinction for review, so thanks to Hillary and Larry. And that what I have here is something I was actually really looking forward to checking out, which is a brand new color of the Diplomat Aero. And what we have here is the new copper orange color. I really like this color. It reminds me a lot of the Lamy Copper Orange All-Star. I just really think this looks sharp. I have a distinct feeling that after I review this and give this away, that I might have to go out and purchase one of these for my own. And then we have a Diplomat Excellence in Blue Guilloche. It's kind of hard to see, but there's some underlying lines and texture in this pen that are very nice. And like I said, both of these pens will be reviewed in the near future and then given away. So look forward to that. Like I said, I'm going to be sorry when this Aero goes away. I might as well just place an order for that, because I'm a real big fan of that color. Okay, next we have a pen from Ryan Krusek. This is the little pen wrap that it comes in. And this is the Legend. And this is in Gabon Ebony Wood, this is the natural color of this wood. It is an extremely black wood, which comes from Cameroon in Africa. And it has mother of pearl inlay on both ends of the pen, which are just really nice color pops there. Ryan does some fantastic work. He is a very talented artist, and you know, he in a number of different mediums. He has several pens which are in scrimshaw, which are actually carvings done in moose antler. Apparently the Boy Scouts of America raise funds by working with some of the national parks. They go into the parks and collect the moose antlers which the animals have shed, and then they sell them. You know, Ryan's daughters accompany him to some of the shows, and they are quite the attraction at the pen shows. They even have a little business of their own. First of all, they sew all of these pen sleeves. All of these are made by his daughters, but then they also make their own jewelry. And a lot of it is fountain pen themed. They have nib earrings and things like that. They even have their own little business cards and everything. And I even purchased a bracelet from them for a gift. Typically right next to Ryan's booth is Brandon Lee's. Brandon sells some great chocolates. You know, my family couldn't care less about the pens and other stuff I bring home from his show. All they care about are these chocolates that I bring home. They come in all sorts of flavors and are amazing. Next, I have a pen from the Carolina Pen Company, and this is the Aiken in Cumberland Ebonite with a gold-plated brass clip. I had ordered this from Jonathan Brooks 7 or 8 months ago, and the pen was recently completed, and I picked it up at the show. If you're not familiar with the work of Jonathan Brooks, do yourself a favor and listen to the Pen Addict podcast from the Atlanta show. Jonathan was a guest, and he goes into some of his methodologies and techniques. Here's Jonathan with his wife, Shay. He's truly a master craftsman when it comes to acrylics, and he makes some awesome pens as well. Check this out. Here are just 2 examples of raw acrylics which Jonathan makes himself. And then right next to it is the pens that actually came from those rods. I just thought it was interesting to see kind of a bit of before and after. When I review this Aiken, you'll hear a great deal about Jonathan and his many talents. Then, finally, I purchased the very last of the classic pens, Lb3 Jupiter Pens. I picked this one up mainly as a memento of my interview a couple of weeks back with Neil deGrasse Tyson. To kind of commemorate the interview, I thought I should pick up a special space-themed pen. And the Lb3 is definitely special. Here's Andy Lambro working hard. If you've ever met Andy, you know that this man will do his best to sell you a pen. And his pens are amazing. He even had some ties on his table. I guess the story goes that a while back, someone bartered a pen from Andy and gave him a bunch of ties. So I actually picked one up. So, I actually wore it to work earlier this week. It's a nice silk tie. Andy's such a great salesman that he sold me a tie at a pen show. Go figure. Okay. The thing that I was most excited about purchasing is something that I don't even have in my possession. But like I said, I know this is a little on the tight side, but it's on the cover of the most recent Pen World magazine. And that is the new Armando Simoni Club pen, which is basically the next pen from the Omas stock. So it is this pen right here. This is what the nib is going to look like with this Magic Flex nib. And it is kind of a larger pen, but it is made out of that beautiful Omas Arco celluloid, where I believe they had around 4,000 rods of it left over, and then it will be gone forever because it is basically impossible to make. So once those are gone, then it will be gone. But I am really excited about receiving this pen in a couple of weeks when it finally comes out. If you ever have the chance to attend a pen show, I would highly recommend it. It's a really great opportunity to hang out with a lot of like-minded folks who like to geek out over pens and stationery. There are shows of varying sizes all across the country. In a couple of months, there's the Triangle Pen Show, which is held about 10 minutes from my house. And while it's a little smaller than the Atlanta show, it'll still be very much worthwhile. I encourage you to make it out to a show if you have the opportunity. So that's it for this recap. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.